Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto was sent back in time. This is going to be a 4-part series and tomorrow I'm going to be ending this series. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And yeah guys, without further ado, let's begin our story. So, what's the deal with Sanosuke? He placed the steaming bowl of ramen in front of Madara. Honestly, he might have outdone himself this time. While it wasn't as good as instant ramen or anywhere near as awesome Ichiraku ramen was, it was a lot better than the time Sai talked Sakura into making him birthday ramen. Neither one of those two know how to cook, and he nearly died that day. Alright, he might never see those two again, or anybody else from Konoha. If only he knew how and why he ended up here. He might be able to figure out some way to... This is surprisingly good. Madara spoke between greedy gulps of ramen. She held the bowl like it was merely a sake dish, taking large sips of the broth. Far better than the tomato-based monstrosities my clan makes. She gave him a smile, lowering the bowl for just a moment. Congratulations, Naruto. It is not often I am forced to admit defeat, but you are the better cook here. Your reward is the honor of cooking for me every night. You just don't want to cook, right? She shrugged, her smile offering no shame. As for Sanosuke, her frown vanished behind her bowl, her mouth full, silence betrayed by an obnoxious slurp that almost made him proud. He is one of my strongest warriors, having survived many fights against the Senju clan. In the past, he was one of my strongest supporters as well, and even agreed that further fighting with the Senju would be pointless at this point. Holy crap, was Sanosuke Madara's ex or something? Wait, no, that didn't make sense with how he talked. He took a sip of his own ramen. More salt next time. Yeah, definitely. Something happened, didn't it? He was to marry my sister. She looked so timid, displayed so softness that betrayed the edge she carried. No one took her that well, but mostly Sanosuke took it harder than most. And above all the love had for my sister turned into hatred for the Senju clan. He let that hatred consume him, to cement himself as the second strongest in the clan now. And you, Sanosuke sounded more like the Madara he knew. Well, kind of. It might just be an Uchiha thing. I mean, I know you said that, still have hatred, but why didn't you let it consume you? She gave a curt laugh, lifting her bowl up once again. You should know the answer to that by now. Her smile turned very. I hate to lose, even to myself. Link break. His bed was significantly less comfortable than it had been in the morning. It was cold, lumpy, and significantly empty. He tossed for what felt like 100 times that day, the cover half covering his body as he switched between too hot and too cold faster than Sasuke switched sides. Sasuke, huh? That was another person he hadn't or wasn't going to see ever again. Not unless he lived for like, what, 100 years? Uzumakis were good at living long, and several people have said that he was too stubborn or stupid to die. So he'd probably be able to see all of them again. Wait, what if Sasuke is related to Madara? What if he became Sasuke's grandpa? Buster would probably be a shitty grandson. Holy crap, he was going to be older than the Jiraiya. That old coot. And older than the old man himself. Were they even born yet? Oh, hey, he could make sure that his parents wouldn't die this time. All that required was to make sure Madara didn't go crazy this time. That was easy. He yawned, rolling over, gathering the blanket around him, snuggling into the warmth. It was going to be great seeing everybody again. All he had to do was not die. So far he's done a pretty good job at that. Something was wrong. Awareness was thrust upon him as his sleep was disrupted. His heart was pounding, beating like thunder, his ears as adrenaline woke up every still sleeping muscle in his body. The air was thick with chakra. Why? Who? What? When? These were his questions. It did not take much natural chakra to tell him where it was coming from, Madara's room, but she was not alone. He was out the door before he was fully awake, fighting against whatever jutsu had been cast. He couldn't hear his footsteps, and all of his muscles felt like they were asleep. Some kind of sleep-based jutsu. Why? What was going on? He needed to see if Madara was okay. She probably was, but he had a bad feeling about this. Every step felt heavier than the last. His muscles were begging for an endless sleep. Like hell, he was going to let some cheap trick beat him like that. Again, gathering Kurama's chakra, he helped shake it off. I warned you, Madara. Sanosuke's voice rang clearly once he reached her door. Inside, he could see Sanosuke and Madara standing there in her room, chakra surrounding both of them, and Madara looked like she was in pain, frozen with her arms at her sides. Bastard! She spat, eyes shut as she tried to struggle against whatever invisible bonds held her. I'll kill you! You'll do nothing, Madara. Sanosuke laughed. This is my ultimate technique. Everything that you were, everything that you will be, will become mine, and you will become nothing. I will take your name, and I will make sure that Senju burned. Why did the villains monologue so much? Didn't matter. Rasengans normally shut them up. Oh, great. He was Sakura now, solving everything with violence. Sanosuke was a dick anyways, and was trying to kill his girlfriend. That was Rasengan worthy. Much like earlier today, Sanosuke was slammed into the ground with a single Rasengan, his jutsu ending. Madara stumbled, grabbing her head like she was having one hell of a headache. Part of her robe was undone, exposing her left breast. He took a step forward, reaching out for her. Are you? She roared, pushing past him to kick Sanosuke in the head, rolling him over, where she then proceeded to give Sanosuke one hell of a beating. She sat on his stomach, delivering blow after blow to other Uchiha's head, with a ferocity that could squash an army. You fucking bastard. After everything I've done for you, after everything we've been through, you tried to take my life? She continued to beat him down, tears falling from her Sharingan. Her face was flushed red, and her breath was as erratic as her chakra. If your hatred has led you to attack your own clan, then you are nothing but a mad dog. Her hands flashed through one hand seal after another, and like an beast, you must be put down. I'd rather die than alive with those Senju bastards. Sanosuke slurred, blood spilling from a broken lip. So be it. The tears stopped and composure graced her once more. You wanted my power, Sanosuke? Then you can have it. Flames so bright and hot it could be called lightning shot out of her Madara's mouth, right at Sanosuke's head. His scream could only be heard for a moment before the roar of the flames drowned it out. He struggled, arms and legs failed in a vain attempt to stop the jutsu, but it was too little, too late. Madara's floor began to blacken, skipping the steps of being on fire and going directly to white-hot ash, then to obsidian. The air in the room turned drier than Suna. The sweat on his body and the tears on Madara's face began to evaporate in heat. Even after Sanosuke stopped struggling, she continued to burn where his head had once been. She only stopped when his entire body was nothing but ash, as though Sanosuke had never existed. Another roared, this one lacking vengeance and hatred, was filled with sadness. Lasted just a while, until she began to collapse again. He caught her, pulling her towards his chest, where she buried her face, tear coming once again. I'm sorry, he muttered, holding her tightly, her very sob a stab to his heart. She just killed someone important to her in a fit of rage. He could have stopped it. This shouldn't have happened. This wasn't what peace was about. Peace wasn't about killing everyone that wanted to kill him. I'm so sorry. You saved me. She managed between sobs, clutching at his clothes, all the white in her washed away. You have nothing to be sorry for. He didn't need to die. Perhaps. She paused to look at him, wiping a few stray tears away with her wrist. I misunderstood his hatred. I knew asking him to be okay with the Senju would push him. I should have realized he did not just hate the Senju, but living life without Izumi. And in that respect I failed him. She wrapped her arms around his neck, pressing up against him, and releasing a long sigh. At least now, he and Sanosuke can be together with my sister once more. But still, we could have, unless you figured out how to travel back in time once more, then you are to speak nothing more of this. Got it? Her finger grazed his lips as her head fell onto his shoulder, her long raven hair falling to the side. I chose to stay in separate rooms to make sure I had the energy for tomorrow, but it worked for the best. Should I take you to my room? He picked her up, not wanting for an answer. taking soft steps to avoid the ash that now covered the floor. Could have could he really fall asleep 10 feet away from someone that had just been burned to death? You have my permission to hold me until we both fall asleep. Tomorrow is a long day and may yet invite more bloodshed. Don't worry, that won't happen. Believe it. Probably, hopefully. He had a good feeling about tomorrow. Try not to say anything stupid, okay? Madara warned, taking the first step into the rocky clearing that was the meeting area. A single river snaked through the center, not shallow enough to drown in. But the water was quick and clear. As also, if you so much as look at another woman, I will end you then, and them as well. So I should just go out there blindfolded. She was probably at least slightly serious, but the whole stabbing thing. Hopefully she'd at least wait, or just stab him with her hand softly. Or maybe I should just send you back. She snorted. I have seen you move blindfolded. Somehow it is worse than how you move normally, but no, I need you there, and able to fight. You are the... You are to be my second, especially if that bastard Tobirama wishes to try something. Besides, she smiled, black eyes twinkling like the space between stars. I wish to show you off, both as my prize and as my champion. A sour taste washed over his mouth, fueled by a single thought that didn't sit well with him. Are you trying to make the first Hokage jealous? Why would I be jealous of parading you around like a prize bird? Her smile didn't fade as she pushed back a strand of her hair, readjusting her ponytail that was a failed attempt to contain her long raven hair. Somehow it looked even hotter than normal. Remember, I will not let that fool Hashirama become the first Hokage. The title will become mine. You can have that title as second once I grow tired of it. Or perhaps not. There is much we can do with an abundance of free time. He pushed her lightly as they walked along one of the larger stones, worn smooth from rain, wind and the river. Her posture didn't change in the slightest and her grace shone through as she moved like a grass in the wind. You're avoiding my questions. While I do respect that fool Hashirama a great deal, there is nothing between us. She sighed, grinding her teeth and letting out a low growl. You will see soon enough why he agitates me so much and why I wish to show you off. However, if you wish to kill Hashirama in a fit of jealousy, I will do little to stop you then. Is it wrong I kind of want to fight him for the fun of it? No, I find the desire to challenge oneself to be an attractive trait. She drew in closer so that he could hear the husk in her voice that sent a shiver down his back. One that I wish to exploit in bed. Are you trying to turn me on before the meeting or something? It would amuse me. How on earth did I fall in love with a girl like you? She stopped, one foot balancing on the crumbled peak of a shattered stone. Her face was flushed and she glared at him. You are not to say that in public. Why? Her lips fell upon his cheeks. Then she took the lead once more, her voice being carried on the warm breeze. I may not be able to control my hunger for you otherwise. Understood? They stood at the stone-covered bank of the river, Madara standing with her arm crossed on the taller rock while he stood below her, close to the water edges. The other Uchiha, all their warriors, stood behind him, hands on their weapons. They were not just ready to fight, they were hoping for it. Madara's foot tapped against the stone, growing faster and faster, and began to mix with the low growl that was escaping from her as she glared daggers at the forest just across from the rocky bastion. It came to a stop and a smile broke out across her face. Their hair. It was hard not to remember the feeling of Ashurama's chakra. Even when the man was dead, sealed and turned against him, it was something that could not be forgotten. An overflowing sense of power that demanded respect and warned his enemies to flee. Kurama roared out inside of him, wanting to try and fight the man once more, to crush him. Apparently, some grudges didn't go away so easily. Still, Naruto couldn't help but smile. He wanted to fight Hashirama and go all out. If not for other reasons than to say he beat the god of Shinobi himself. You're late, Hashirama, you fool. Madara barked, crouching low and placing an arm on her knee. Her smile was feral, and he could see the desire to fight burn around her. Was that how he was with Sasuke? Hopefully not. Then her smile and zeal vanished when the man came into view. How did you got a black eye? It is why we're late. A white-haired man dressed in blue plate armor answered. The second Hokage, Tobirama said. Nothing was spared is clear. Not even his own brother. Though to be honest, I don't expect you to show up anytime soon. Oh come on, Tobirama, show some respect. Hashirama flinched as he touched his black eye. This is merely a wound from our guest. I may have overstepped my bounds. But who's your friend? I don't recall a blonde Uchiha. Madara gestured towards him, her smile growing more wicked with each emotion. This is my lover, you fool. His voice of reason is why I am even bothering with you. Lover? Hashirama shook his head, blinking. Oh, well, I see. That's very forward, thinking of your clan. They must be happy for you. He bowed at the waist towards him. I do hope you and Madara can find happiness. I know he can be a handful at times. Hashirama, you fool. The stone cracked under her foot, and her hand was resting the blade of her hilt. How many times do I have to tell you? I am a woman. Hashirama snorted. What? Nonsense. I have known you since you were a boy. Now please stop trying to trick me, Madara. I accept you for who you are. Madara growled, her eyes twitching as her fingers danced along her hilt of the sword. Enough of this. We are here to talk about the future of our Naruto, a voice called out, breaking Madara's speech. From behind Hashirama, Tobirama and the host of ninja that accompanied them. Coming into view was a beautiful woman with long pink hair tied into a ponytail that trailed well below her waist. A pink diamond was stuck in the middle of her forehead. Naturally, one of the first things he noticed was her rather pronounced chest, especially compared to her rather slender figure that was dressed in a pink battle kimono similar to what Shizune used to wear. She was also wearing a Naruto. Is that you, Naruto? He almost didn't recognize her because of the boobs and the long hair, but there was no doubt that it was Sakura. What was she doing here? How did she get here? How long did she have to be here to grow hair that long and boobs that big? Sakura! He crossed the river in a heartbeat, rushing over to pull Sakura into a hug, laughing even as he felt tears fall from his eyes. He picked her up, spinning her around, and she hugged him back. Her monstrous strength all but squeezing the life out of him. They separated, but he didn't dare taking his arms off of her, or else she might vanish. Why is your hair so long, and where do you get the boobs? Yes, that was the first thing that came out of his mouth. Important questions like why she was here, how was she, and other things still sat in the back of his mind, but she did just squeeze her boobs against his chest. Besides, it was Sakura's boobs. That only happened in his dreams. Her face turned red and her smile vanished, her arms folded over her chest. Idiot, is that the first thing that you asked me? And I don't know when I got the long hair or boobs. My boobs were so big. I don't know. She pointed towards his arms, still glaring at him. Probably why you got your arm back. Oh right, I guess that makes sense. Do you know why we're here or how we even got here? That was probably a chance that she knew, but probably not. I just kind of remember flying through the river and then crashing into a river. Not so loud? Sakura hissed. We're in the past, you idiot. We can't let them know where we're from. Oh well, it was a bit too late for that, but hopefully it wasn't that big of a deal. That he maybe told Madara basically everything. Maybe it was a good thing that he was bad at history lessons. Okay, but why? Sakura's face turned cold. You told someone, didn't you? Told someone what? Madara's cold voice and icy glare was contrast to the warm smile she bore. He had a bad feeling about this, and I would appreciate if you would release him this instant. I'd hate for him to get in the way for me killing you. Sakura returned the glare without missing a beat. Oh, and why would I do that? He's my friend, and who the hell are you? Madara continued to draw her sword as though she was singing it out. I shall do you the honor of knowing the name of the one who would be killing you. I am Madara Uchiha, and you are touching my lover. Wait, Sakura blinked several times, her fist still clutched around his collar. Your Madara Uchiha? As in the Madara Uchiha? I see, my reputation precedes me. You're a woman? Sakura all but shouted, her mouth hanging open. Yes, I am a woman, damn it! Madara finished drawing her sword and sliced at the air. Her anger was hot enough feared he feared she might catch the river on fire. Why is everyone so surprised by that? Now release Naruto so I might kill you properly. Why? He's just an idiot. Sakura blinked, looking between him and Madara, showing way too much bravery for someone that was about to be murdered. Madara went to swing but was stopped by Hashirama grabbing her arm. Come now, Madara. You know a man should never hit a woman. Piss off, Hashirama, you fool. Let me kill that skank. That skank. She's touching what rightfully is mine. Madara flailed. Sakura blinked. He could hear things clicking into place inside her head. She blinked at him, looking between him and the angry Madara that was all but sweeping fire. As to how an actual fight hadn't broken out between the two clans as was something else entirely. Madara said, You're her lover, right? Yes. He nodded, flinching, waiting for her punch that would in all likelihood send him back to the future. Please don't hit me. That blow never came. He dared a glance at Sakura. Her face was a mixture of disgust as he watched all the events unfold before his eyes. You idiot. Her voice carried that normal barb but was barely a whisper. You mean to tell me that? She had both hands around his collar and he felt his feet lifted off the ground. She was mad. Really, really mad. Madder than he'd ever seen her before. You had sex with Madara Uchiha? I actually can't believe this. Sakura paused in front of them, rubbing her head like she was fighting off the worst headache in the history of the world. She probably named it after him. The fact that Madara hadn't tried to kill her yet was something mostly thanks to Hashirama making sure that Sakura was safe. We haven't even been here a week, and somehow you managed to literally fuck up the future. He winced, trying to shrink down. The Senju and Uchiha clans were staring in a state of shock and awe at them. None dared to draw too close lest an actual fight broke out. I'm sorry? Oh, I'll show you. Sorry. Sakura flipped a strand of her hair out and gave a huff, rubbing at her shoulder so that her pronounced chest swayed. It was weird that Sakura had boobs, but they looked good on her. Creepily. A fact that Tobirama also noticed. She sighed, her gaze losing the sharpness it had honestly had moments ago. Honestly, Naruto. It's like you didn't even think about the consequences, did you? Forgive for interrupting, Sakura. Tobirama held up his hand, his red eyes looked onto Sakura as he sat on a rock, one knee higher than the other. The second Hokage always had the grumpiest looking face on the monument, but he was starting to think that they were too kind with his goal. But could you explain why you're so upset that he's in a relationship with the Uchiha? Is he a past lover of yours? It was hard to miss the cut in his voice. And what of this future you seemed so concerned about? Where are you and Naruto from? He continued, no longer glancing at him. Well, since he was an idiot and told Madara everything, I might as well tell you too, to see if we can unfuck everything or something like that. She pinched the bridges of her nose and took a deep breath. Should probably also see if Madara's pregnant. Probably wasn't a good idea to tell her that he prevented Madara from dying and that they killed a person. But how do we know this is our past? I mean, Madara is a girl, so a bunch of stuff could be different. Tobirama cracked a smile. He perfected his goal and let out a low chuckle that would do Sasuke proud. The answer to that is simple. My brother is an idiot and thinks that she's a man, and I encourage it because it amuses me. You're kind of an ass. You know that? He glared at the man. You'll forgive me for relishing in the suffering of the one who killed many of my family. That was fair, but we saw Madara. He got resurrected and tried to take over the world. Sakura sighed, scratching her once again head. Alright, I need to explain where we're from. Yes, Hashirama bared over to them, still beaming with vitality and bravado. He bowed, arms stiff. I would like to finally hear where you are from, Sakura. Maybe Rock Lee was related to him somehow. Wait, no, that was entirely wrong. Personalities weren't genetic. Besides, Hashirama didn't have barely nearly enough eyebrows to be related to Rock Lee. Hashirama, you fool, Madara growled, a wicked sneer on her face that only brightened when she looked at him. Our duel and your idiocy will have to wait. She turned toward Sakura, and her hand was still on her sword once again. I will hear what you have to say, and if I am not satisfied, I will kill you. If you want this meeting to do a good job and be successful, you will do no such thing. Strawberama stood between them, arm crossed and matching Madara's sneer growl to growl. Poor bastard didn't know that Sakura didn't need protection, and that she was stubborn enough to punch through her protection. Sakura is under the protection of the Senju, but do not mistake her as weak. Come on, Madara, you know a man shouldn't strike the woman blow against a woman. Hashirama placed a hand on Madara's shoulder, thinking they were old drinking buddies. Unhand me, you fool! Madara slapped his hands away and stomped away from him. How many times do I have to tell you? I am a woman. She stomped over and sat down on his lap, bringing her arms around his neck so that her breath tickled his neck. She was being rather affectionate and clingy. So, why do you think Madara is a man? Sakura asked, one hand on her hip. Are you trying to claim that a woman can't fight? When did I ever say that? Hashirama scratched the back of his head, his face scrunched up. I know full well how strong some women are, but it's against my code to strike one first. And Madara is a man. I saw him naked when we were younger. Madara bristled in arms, and a low growl escaped and paused that sent tingle through his spine. I was in my underwear, you fool. Yes, but you had no breast. I was 6 at that time, damn it. Yes, but you still have no breast. Just because I'm not a cow like she does not mean I'm not a woman. Madara let out a frustrated scream and pointed towards Sakura. Sakura blushed, trying to cover her chest as best as she could. They are new, and these are not what makes a woman. And they weren't that big. They were just big on Sakura because she used to be flat. Madara was bigger than Sakura used to be. Not that he'd seen Sakura bare breast, but he'd seen her in workout gear before, and to be honest, at the time teenage brain, that was basically the same thing. Madara also had a nice stomach and battered legs. The jury was still out on the butt though. Wait, he got to touch Madara's butt. Her wins. Hashirama nodded, a blush on both his and his brother's face, eyes fixated on Sakura as she screamed. I'm well aware, but when we were young, Madara told me he was a male several times, proclaiming it loudly. That was because I was not strong enough to be free. And a woman, you fool. She huffed tears, tearing her eyes off of Hashirama's. I'm tired of arguing with this fool. You there, Sakura was it? I will allow you to explain this future the two of you came from, and no one others. They will help me become Hokage and lead Konoha properly. Sakura sighed again, her shoulders dropping. She looked more than ready to get to bed. She was way too stressed out for all of this. Fine. Maybe, between the 4 of us, we can find some way to make sure the future goes the same way. Why? You would have me be remembered as a villain and a man instead of as the powerful leader of Konoha. If Sakura heard the barb in Madara's voice, she didn't show it. Yep, she was done with everything. Yes, you don't seem to understand. We have a lasting world peace. A lasting peace that you going crazy and trying to take over the world built. Yes, there are a lot of people that died during the 4th Ninja War, but things are finally so you are a coward and fear changes. You would damn the lives of so many so that the future you will not see will come once again. Mother squeezed him tighter. Her hands was shaking with the anger that her voice did not show. Yes, Sakura, it's not like we have a way to go back, and just think about how many people we could save. You could stop Sasuke from ever going to Orochimaru in the first place, and I can deal with Kaguya again, especially with Madara's help here. She was like a super Sasuke that he got to have sex with. Ew, bad thought. Madara was mother and she was his girlfriend. Lover? Thing? Anything. This was why I wanted to keep it a secret. The glare she gave him could kill a lesser man, and he probably would have whimpered had Madara not been holding on to him like a dog guarding its last bone. At least her and Sakura weren't trying to kill each other. I'm not selfish, but we have that peace you both worked so hard to achieve. All the villages are aligned with each other, and things are looking better. No more children being sent to war. No more fathers and mothers no longer coming home. We have peace. She pawed at a tear that had begun to spurt from her eyes. Crocodile tears. Mother snorted just under her breath. I know it's unfair to ask you all to sacrifice so much, especially you, Madara, but it is for the best. Sakura forced a smile. Besides, there might be a way for me and Naruto to go back. Wait, what? He would be standing had Madara not been on his lap. A way back? A chance to see his friend? And family again? Ramen? But that would mean leaving Madara here, wouldn't it? What are you talking about, Sakura? The portal I came out of is still there, or at least it was until when I checked. A portal? How come he had to fall to the earth and she gets a portal? Man, it felt like someone was out to get him, or something. Sakura smiled and nodded at him. I tried to open it with my chakra, but I didn't have enough. But between you and Hashirama and Kurama, we should be able to open it back up and let us go back to our time. Madara growled, her fingers digging into his back, and she got as close as she could. You will not leave me. He didn't want to, he really didn't, but also wanted to see his friend and family back home again. Was she worth that life? Did his love for her that had bloomed so virulent in the past week outweigh the love he had back home? He didn't know. What makes you think you'll be able to go back through it? Tobirama asked. And what makes you think it leads to the same future you had in your past? What's to say it won't change with the knowledge we have now? It's worth a shot, isn't? Sakura shrugged, running a hand through her hair. I don't even know what's going on, but I do know that we need to go back. We don't belong here. However, we got here is a mistake. You agree with me, right, Naruto? All eyes were on him. Hashirama confused gaze, Tobirama's judgment one, Sakura's pleading one, and Madara's daring one. I don't know. I mean, I understand what you are saying, but I mean, it might not even go back to Konoha. We know, right? No, it does. I'll take you all there tomorrow. Sakura smiled. It was cute and thankful. She pointed towards the two clans behind them that were glaring at each other, weapons drawn. In the meantime, I think we need to focus on stopping a war that would ruin everything. Link break. Madara was mad. Really, really mad. It was quite possibly the saddest and maddest he had seen her, which, considered how she was always at least kind of mad in some form or another, was outstanding. On their way to camp, no matter how much he pleaded, no matter how much he begged for forgiveness, she refused to speak to him. Look, Madara, But he was cut off. It was hard to explain himself, with her tongue down his throat. She twisted him, pushing him inside their tent, shoving him to the ground and disrobing him in one motion, all while kissing him as though her life depended on it. He was on his back with her on the top of him, her favorite position. She separated for just a moment, doing away with her robe and exposing her naked body to him once more. I will make this abundantly clear, Naruto. Her kiss burned like fire as her hand tore at his pants, grabbing his already hard penis, stroking it softly. Before he knew it, they were naked, his hands on her hips as she slowly grinded against him, a soft moan escaping her. You are mine, and mine alone. She grabbed his hand, leading it up her tight stomach and up to her supple breast, his thumbs resting against her hard nipples. Just as I am yours. She twisted, suddenly coercing a moan out of him, as his body shuddered in delight. All of his senses were devoted to her, his every action for her and his every thought about her. She leaned down, kissing him as she continued to ride him. I will permit you to open the portal. I will allow your friend Sakura to leave this world through the portal, and I will allow you to make a choice, to stay or leave. Why? He barely managed to say that between the gasps of pleasure he was spouting. Because she kissed him again, her movements slowing even as her breathing quickened. She was squeezing him tight and trying to hold back the moans that were building up inside of her. That was only adding the frustration she was about to unleash on him. It will get rid of this annoying Sakura you seemed so fond of. He felt her smile against his cheeks, her tongue caressing his ear. And I will know you will choose me. She made a damn as this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, guys, this is Apollo Uchiha and I'm signing out. Peace.